Welcome to Smart Questions. This is where, as a team, we take challenges that have come up from conversations we've had with clients in the last few days, and we explore some of the key salient points from it. It's not all about what the textbooks would say, and we won't necessarily come up with all of the whole range of solutions, but the idea is that we cover enough that there's at least a good takeaway that you can have that will help you to address that particular challenge or question that has come up. So we hope you find it useful. Granger, welcome to another episode of Smart Questions. What's the question or the challenge that we've got this week?
Hi, Kevin. Yeah. So the question for this week, we have a long established family business. I've started using the business rhythm, but it's not working. People don't want to change. Please advise.
So this is quite a common challenge, isn't it? Whenever we're trying to do something different, and we've seen it with a number of companies with the business rhythm is really trying to get that established. So what sort of things do we need to think about here, do you think, Granger?
So my first thought in terms of this is to really understand how change takes place. So change starts with yourself. You can't change other people. You have to change yourself. So if the change isn't happening, be really frank with yourself. Is it because you're not actually trying to establish the business rhythm? It was just a good idea in terms of process, but are you really focused on it? You really want it in place and the structure of it. So the first thing is really about yourself. Yeah, is it something you want to make happen in the business all the time? Yes, we all get hung up in difficult times, and there are difficult weeks, etc., in terms of doing that. But if you're really your attention to detail is to make this happen because you know the benefit of having a business rhythm and the organization that comes with it, then you've got to put that energy into it. You've got to make it happen, even if initially just with yourself, maybe. It depends on how big your business is in terms of doing that. Yeah, and this is an established business with lots of people in it, but it's really important that you are making it happen. You're finding the time in your diary in terms of doing that. And that's the first real commitment I think you need to think through. Then the next bit I would then suggest is try and ask the question is, why isn't it happening? Okay, so if you are committed and you're making it happen, then start asking a question, why? Have you got the right calendar events in the diary? Are you interfering with other people's time of work? Is it that you haven't actually portrayed and agreed with your rest of your board members, whoever those may be in your family, in terms of the purpose and the structure of when we're going to do it and why we're going to do it in terms of doing that? So start asking those questions of why it's not working and systematically work through those, improving the business rhythm each week that you're trying to do more of it.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a sort of change curve, isn't there, that happens every time we're trying to do change, and there's always resistance, isn't there, with any change, is that first part of it.
Absolutely. The change curve clearly states that initially people will push against it, maybe even get angry, upset by it. They don't see the benefit of it, and that's perfectly normal. So just ignore it. It's very hard to, as humans, when people face off to us or are counteractive in terms of, because we can see the bigger picture, we can see where they are, maybe they can't yet. So you've got to allow them to get over that initial hump, that difficult period, and then through nurturing and discussing, then you bring them out through the bottom of the curve and you start moving them up the performance side, and getting their understanding of it and the practice of it and the repetitiveness of it will then start to come into doing that, and then you get up to the high end performing and delivering side of any change process.
Yeah, so once people get over that resistance, they try it. There's that period of where it probably doesn't work very well, but we can hone that. We need to plow through that, don't we, and just improve it. And then people will start to see the benefits of it. And then that's when we start to come up the other side of the curve. So it's perfectly natural with any change, and certainly business rhythm, introducing a business rhythm, if we haven't had that working, or if we've had a different rhythm and we're introducing new aspects, there's bound to be some difficulties, some resistance to start with.
And that curve, depending on what it is you're trying to change, but specifically with the business rhythm, it could take up to 6 months for that to really see the power and the benefit of it. We do a lot of change activities in companies, with teams and cross teams, and I've done stuff in my corporate world with for, and it really truly can take about 6 months for something really powerful to come out of the change that you're taking place. So don't give up in the first few weeks when people push back and say, oh, I don't want to do this, or you know what, this isn't good enough, or actually that meeting didn't work in terms of doing stuff. That's the growing phase, that's the toddler learning to walk phase, and bashing into things, you've got to get over that part, and you've got to get to the point of walking and then up to running in terms of doing stuff. So it does take time, so give yourself that breathing space. Don't panic if it's not working straight away, but learn, ask questions, and keep trying to improve it, because we all know the benefit of a really good business rhythm allows the business to have that organization and that clarity that then comes with it, that allows the business to scale and achieve what the business objectives are.
And are there any merits in starting small, say, with a business rhythm, or should we be looking at establishing the whole business rhythm in one go?
Oh, what a great question. I would initially probably start small, because unless you've got everybody on board, and you've sold them the idea and you've got over that curve very quickly. But I would start small in terms of doing that. Maybe just with a weekly meeting initially, get that happening and the structure of that around that, and then introduce maybe the daily meetings and then the monthly meetings around that. So we're slowly going from the long term and the monthly, the weekly, just are we keeping an eye on long term, to the daily, what's the tactical stuff that we need to do today in terms of doing stuff.
Okay. And the question came from a family business. We don't have the benefit of having them here to be able to ask them the questions, but I guess there might be other complexities around whether it is a real family business, with maybe even with other family members within that business, as opposed to maybe one individual that set it up and then employees.
So as we would say there, is do we really have clearly articulated who does what in a business? Because most family businesses, probably as they grow up, everybody's doing everything, and we don't really sort of organize ourselves. So are we clearly articulated in terms of who's the MD, what's the role of the MD, who's the finance director, what's the role of the finance, who's the sales director, the marketing director? Have we clearly defined the roles that each of us play as shareholders? We all go to the board meetings as equal shareholders, maybe. Absolutely. That's an important aspect of it. But we all play key roles in the business. And if we really understand those key roles, then actually we can play to those key roles in terms of delivering then to the group shareholders, which is all us, in terms of doing things.
And we've seen this, and I think there's quite a lot of research around to show this, that it's quite often that transition from the first generation family business to the second generation, which is tricky, where initially you've got maybe the father or the mother that set up the business, and it can be quite autocratic in a way. You've got that strong figurehead that's the founder that set it up and drives everything through. But then that transition to the children, perhaps, sometimes is where it can get a little bit tricky, and that defining of the roles is absolutely clear. But also the business rhythm then can be something that is really helpful and really powerful to help that transition to happen. But it is, just like you said before about the change curve, there's a change coming in there. We've got how we behave at home with our siblings, perhaps, is quite different maybe from how we might want to behave in the boardroom with them, and we need that structure, that rhythm, and everything else to go with it.
Absolutely.
All right, brilliant. I think some really good things there. So first of all, don't be frightened of change. It is change, just like any other change. Be aware that it will take time, and that you will have to go through some initial stages of it. But if you've understood the benefits of why you're doing it, and you've communicated that clearly at the beginning, then you're going to stand a good chance of getting through it and realizing the real benefits of a very powerful business rhythm within your business.
Absolutely. And right at the very beginning, you have the most knowledge because you've gone researching, you've gone thinking about it, you've developed that. Nobody else, all they've had is a few words from you. They've got to go through that same learning and that experience, and that's what the business rhythm will then happen as the meetings start taking place. People will see that, etc. So, allow the rest of the business to catch up with you. Don't expect them to change instantly.
Brilliant. Granger, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Kevin.
If you found that useful, imagine what it'd be like coming along to Scale Up Club, where you'll have other business owners that will be raising challenges, but helping you to address your challenges on an ongoing basis. So just look in the description and the comments to find out how you can come along to the next Scale Up Club. And also, why not have a look at my book, The Entrepreneurial Scale Up System? You'll find the answers to all sorts of questions in there, along with that system of how to scale up your business. So hopefully look forward to seeing you soon.